Dear students, today's topic of discussion is finite and non-finite verbs. Verbs are action words and there are two types, finite and non-finite. Children, first you understand finite verb. A verb which shows time or a verb which is limited by number, person and gender of the subject is known as a finite verb. Examples: Neha writes letters, they write letters, we have written letters. So in all these three examples, the verb write is in different forms. So here we come to know that finite verb changes according to the number, person and the tense. Now understand what are non-finite verbs. A verb that does not show time or a verb which is not limited by number, person and tense of the subject is known as a non-finite verb. Examples: Raman tries to sing, we try to sing, they try to sing. So children, in these sentences you can see the non-finite verb to sing is remain same in all the three sentences. Children, now understand the rules. Finite verbs agree with the subject. They change their form to agree with the subject in terms of person and number. Like here we have taken the verb form play. I play very well. Here play is a finite verb. My friend plays very well too. Again, plays is a finite verb. Children, see, in the first sentence, the subject is I, and with subject I, we have used verb 1 without S or ES. But in the second sentence, when subject is my friend, which is third person singular, so we have added S with the verb play. So you can see finite verbs changes according to the person and number. So children, understand this: when a verb changes its form to agree with the subject, it is a finite verb. Now look at the next example. I like to play. And here in the second sentence, I am going to change the subject. My friend likes to play. In these sentences also, you can see the verb like is changed with the change of person. But the non-finite verbs to play is same in both these sentences. So here we learn that non-finite verbs do not change with the person, number and tense. Now children, let's understand rule 2. Finite verb changes its form to show tense. So let's understand this rule through some examples. Here the verb is sleep. Look at the first sentence. I slept well yesterday. Children, see here the verb sleep is changed into its past form slept to show that the sentence is in the past tense. Next sentence. I was sleeping when you called me. Here also you see the verb sleep is changed into sleeping to show that it is a past continuous tense. Now next sentence. I will sleep peacefully today. In this sentence, the verb sleep is written with auxiliary verb will to show that this sentence is in the future tense. So children, in all these three sentences, the verb sleep is written in different forms. In first sentence, slept. In second sentence, was sleeping. In third sentence, will sleep. So here we come to know that finite verb changes according to the tense. But look at the use of verb sleep in next examples. First example is, I thought sleeping is a waste of time. This sentence is in the simple past tense, but This we come to know by the verb thought, which is the past form of verb think. And here in this sentence, the verb sleeping does not show the tense. Next example, I think sleeping is a waste of time. Here, this sentence is in simple present tense. Again, this tense we come to know by the verb think, not by the verb sleeping. Next example, I will not think that sleeping is a waste of time hereafter. Here, this is simple future tense. So, children, you can see in all the three sentences, the tense is shown by the finite verb think. So, children, you can see that in all these three examples, the verb sleeping is not changed and doesn't show the tense. So, the verb sleeping in these sentences is non-finite verb. Now, rule 3. Finite verb needs a noun or pronoun in front of it to make sense. So, here we come to know that finite verbs are always placed after the subject. Let's understand it through first example. She lent me some of her books. So here she is subject and after subject lent is the finite verb. Next example. I painted our fence white. Here I is subject and after I finite verb painted is placed. In the third sentence, the tourists walked for 3 hours. Here again we can see the tourist is subject and the verb walked, which is a finite verb, is placed after it. Now study the next example. I promised to lend her some of my books. Here you can see promised is finite verb as it is placed after the subject and to lend is a non-finite verb because it is not followed by any subject. Next example. I like to paint. Here again we can see the verb like is a finite verb because it is after the subject and to paint in this sentence is a non-finite verb because it is not written after the subject. So children, I hope you have understood the rules of finite verbs well. Now children, let's understand the kinds of non-finite verbs. So there are three kinds of non-finite verbs. First is the infinitive, second is gerund, and third is participle. Now understand these kinds one by one. So first, the infinitive. The form of the infinitive verb is to plus base form of the verb. And always remember, it does not change according to the tense, person or number. Look at the first example. She tried to help me. Second example, I tried to take a lot of photographs at the tour. Third example, he encouraged me to sing. So children, in these sentences, to help, to take and to sing are the infinitives and they are non-finite verbs. Now, the next kind, that is gerund. Gerund is a verb with the ending ing, base verb plus ing, like sleeping, walking, swimming, etc. It is used as a noun in the sentence. So, first example, swimming is a very good exercise. So children, in this sentence, you can see the verb swimming is written as a subject. It is not written after the subject. It is written as a subject and it acts like a noun in the sentence. So it is also called verbal nouns. Gerunds are also called verbal nouns. So children, in the first sentence, the verb swimming is a gerund. It is written as a subject and it acts like a noun. In the second example, it is written we like jogging. So here the verb jogging. So children, here the verb jogging is gerund. It does not show the tense. It doesn't change according to the number of person, and it is not written after the subject. So here we come to know that gerund can be written as a subject and as an object in sentence. Children, to identify gerund easily, you can put a question to the verb in the sentence, like first sentence, swimming is a good exercise. If we make a question, what is a good exercise? We get the answer, swimming is a good exercise. So, answer to what is a gerund. So, children, remember the verbs ending in ing act as a noun in a sentence, they are gerund. So, children, remember gerunds always appear as a subject or an object in a sentence, and they answer the question what or to whom. Children, now let's understand the third type, which is participle. The past and present participle forms of the verbs perform other function instead of acting as a verb. So here past participle is the third form of the verb. Like we take example, the verb sing. First form is sing, past form is sang, and past participle form is sung. So here we come to know that third form of the verb is called past participle form of the verb. And present participle is verb 1 plus ing. Don't get confused with gerund and participle because they both look same, base form of the verb and ing, but their functions are different. As we have discussed, gerund they act as a noun. Participles they do not act as a noun, but they act as an adjective or an adverb in a sentence. Let's understand this through some examples. Falling rocks had blocked the road. So here first you understand which tense it is. It is past perfect tense. How we come to know? By the verb had plus verb 3. So had plus verb 3 shows past perfect tense. And here the verb falling is present participle as it doesn't show the tense. It doesn't change according to the person and number. And as I have told you that participles act as an adjective or an adverb in a sentence. So what are adjectives? They are describing words. They describe the noun. And in this sentence, the verb falling is describing the noun rocks. So here it acts as an adjective and it is present participle. Now children, next example, your shirt looks crumpled. So here this sentence is in simple present tense. We come to know this by the verb looks. And the word crumpled here is past participle. And children, the verb crumpled does not show the tense. It is not written after the subject, but it gives us more information about the noun shirt. What kind of shirt? A crumpled shirt. So any word that describes the noun and gives more information about the noun is an adjective. So here the verb crumpled acts as an adjective. So it is past participle. It is non-finite verb. So children, when past and present verbs they act as an adjective in a sentence, we call them participles and they are called non-finite verbs. Children, number of times we get confused between present participle and gerund because they both end in ing and they look same. But don't get confused. We can understand and identify the difference very easily by understanding their function in the sentence. As we have already discussed that gerunds, the verbs ending in ing, they act as a noun, and present participle, again the verbs ending in ing, they act as an adjective or as an adverb in a sentence. So children, let's understand it through one exercise. Identify the gerunds and participles. First sentence. She gave a piece of cake to the crying child. Here the verb crying is a participle as it describes the noun child. Second sentence. The purring cat snuggled up to Ella. Here again the verb purring is participle as it describes the noun cat. Third sentence. The frantically waving lady turned out to be my aunt. So here again the verb waving is a participle as it describes the noun lady and acts as an adjective in the sentence. Next example, the library is meant for reading. So here the word reading is gerund as it is written as an object in the sentence and it does not show any tense and it doesn't give any information about the noun. So it is a gerund. How do I know this? By its function. By putting a question to the verb. What is the library meant for? The library is meant for reading. So as we have already discussed, that answer to what is a gerund. Next and the last example, he needs good nurturing. Here again, we see that the verb nurturing is written as an object. It ends in ing. It acts as a noun and it answers to what? So, this is a gerund. Children, I hope now you can easily identify the finite and non-finite verbs and also you can identify their kinds, infinitive, participle and gerund.